don't want it to end just yet. What the hell? I really have to stop dropping my notebook on the laptop. It keeps wanting to turn off. That's not what I want to do, especially when it's literally the beginning. My sign fell down. Like, really fell down this time. I don't know if I can get it to be repaired. I need more Velcro. I don't think I have Velcro here, so I must go to the store and get Velcro. Oh, crap. Man, I'm just knocking crap left and right. Signs down. The laptop said something's going wrong. I have no idea what the problem is here. It's just Randsanity. It's chaos is what it is. It's actually just chaos. I should just rename everything I do chaos. Forget the whole Randsanity thing. It's just chaos. It really is. I don't know what to tell you otherwise. Just so many things. Just so many things today. All of it just chaos. Nothing I'm going to share because it was just ridiculous and unnecessary. All of it was unnecessary. Anyway, welcome to Randsanity, episode 170. All right, so 30 days until episode 200. 30 days, 4 weeks. Give or take a day or two. A month. We'll go with a month. How's that? December 17th, December 17th will be episode 200. And like I said, I may relaunch this whole thing after I have, 200 episodes under my belt. Hi, Todd. It's chaos. Yes, it is totally chaos. But the thing is, Todd, that's nice about the chaos, I did remember to turn off the heater, so we won't have that. And I'm going to pay attention to the clock to make sure it doesn't turn off. Okay? So less chaos there. It's all chaos. The only thing that we can depend on is that we can't depend on anything. This is also true. That is also partially true. That is definitely part of the chaos. What I need to do is get my this screen up here as well so I can see the stuff easier. I'm going to have to bring another screen over and connect this to an output to something. I don't know if I can do that. Can I do that maybe? Maybe. I don't really know. Probably not because it's using the output for that. I don't know. I'm confused by all of it. Like I said, it's just chaos. It's just crazy. Okay, so episode 170 tonight. Now, as per usual, I just go back and forth across the spectrum of TV, movies, music, births, deaths, decades gone by without any rhyme or reason, because that's just where I find it. I saw that Weird Al Yankovic is coming to the Ohio State Fair next summer, just like AC/DC is going to play the Horseshoe next summer. Which is kind of crazy if you think about it. It's still just past summer, right? I mean, it's November. It's not like we're in January. You're talking like 6 months. It's like, November. So we go to December, January, February, March, April, May, June, July. I mean, what? 8 months away? Okay, so in 8 months, you can see Weird Al Yankovic, and in 8 months, you can see AC/DC at the shoe. Get your tickets now before they sell out. Again, don't ask me. Anyway, how's everyone doing tonight? I still have not gotten a haircut, so I'm making sure I shower right before I get here so my hair will stay slicked back a little bit, because it's getting, chaotically long. It's just, I just have to find the time and someone to cut it. And I just don't want to go to a regular barber who typically will do a crappy job. But I may. I don't know. And no, I'm not going to find out my latent talent is cutting my own hair. That is definitely not happening. I'm not busting out the Flowbee and Flowbeeing away. That's just not going to work for me. I'm definitely, the whole you're so vain thing. Right. Anyway. All right, we'll start it off. In 1945, there once was a girl from Nantucket. I mean, it's not a joke. There really was. Apparently, it was a play. It lasted for 12 episodes in the Adelphia Theater in New York City. I just thought that was funny. It made no relevance whatsoever. I didn't do any research on it. I didn't really care. I just was like, okay. It's just like, the woman who died and she starred in Death Takes a Holiday. Well, because she was dead. It was the dead part of the show, not the boring part that I screw up. But it was the end where, I say who dies. 1967, Davy Jones of the Monkees fame opens his Greenwich Village hipster boutique, Zilch. Zilch 1 actually was the name of it. Talked about this before. I had to look up what Zilch was. I wasn't sure. And he actually was in the store for the first couple of days, and he had like the very hip 60s kind of, garb that he would wear, and a lot of stuff that was very posh from England. And I guess it was sold out constantly of all the stuff. And he was going to open a second Zilch 2 in Los Angeles. I don't know if he ever did, but I'm sure it did very well. Davy Jones selling his hipster gear in Greenwich Village, New York City, 1967. I mean, there was a little fringy hipster stuff anyway. So 1968, George Harrison of the Beatles fame showed up unexpectedly and made a TV debut cameo on the TV show The Smothers Brothers Comedy Hour. I didn't look into that either. It just was like, okay, I guess just if you're, George Harrison, you can just pop on a TV show unannounced. What's up? George Harrison here. I'm going to be on the show tonight. 1970, Elton John performs a concert for WABC Radio in New York City. It is a studio broadcast, but it's recorded. Apparently, bootleggers thought it was such a great thing that the producer, Elton John's producer, said, well, what the heck? Why don't we just release this as a recording? It was not planned to be, so they did. They released it in April of 1971, and the name of it, of all things, is 11/17/70. That's actually the name of the album. It actually did very poorly, though. It didn't sell very well. I guess it's because the bootleggers had like 60 plus minutes. This thing was only 48 because it was the normal length of an album, I guess, and they didn't have all the compilation. Also, there was a glut of Elton John music at the time. He had 2 other releases out, so I guess there was lots of Elton John going around. So I think they misfired on that one. The producer thought, oh my God, bootleggers love it. Well, yeah, that's because the bootleggers do it for free. Hey, here, share my music, as to, hey, buy the music. That's why Napster and all the people, was doing that until the record labels and everyone else said, hey, how do we get in on this? How do we make money and not make a physical disc and just sell people the ability to listen to music and rent it? Just saying. 1974, ABBA, out on the road for the first time, leaving their Swedish den. They performed their first show at the Theater Kalkontheater in Copenhagen, Denmark. Now, it's like one word, though. It's Kalkontheater, Theater, Kalkontheater in Copenhagen, Denmark. So it's not like the Kalken Theater. It's Kalken Theater. I don't have a Danish accent. I don't know. I didn't listen for Danish accents tonight, so I didn't have a good handle on that one. Geffen Records released John Lennon and Yoko Ono's album Double Fantasy on this day in 1980. As well, in 1980, RCA Victor Records released 9 to 5 and Odd Jobs, the 23rd studio album for Dolly Parton. I liked the movie 9 to 5. I thought that was funny. Dabney Coleman was the boss. I just always remember Dabney Coleman for some reason. I forget it was with Jane Fonda and what was the tall one's name? I'll remember. My brain's not that fried. It's kind of fried, but not completely. 1990, singer and songwriter for CSNY, Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young, David Crosby, wrecks on his motorcycle in Los Angeles, California, and sustains serious injuries, breaking his left leg, ankle, and shoulder. He went on to make a full recovery and get a new liver because he was an alcoholic and needed one. 2003, Britney. At 21 years old, she is the youngest singer ever to receive a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. The only other person that was of the same age was Melissa Gilbert from the TV show Little House on the Prairie, who also got a Hollywood Walk of Fame star at the age of 21. Really? Little House on the Prairie? Was that popular? Oh, man. 1998, Tori Amos released a compilation of her videos, Tori Amos, The Complete Collection, 92 to 98. Have I ever told you the story of Tori Amos? So, Tori Amos' story. I'll make it brief. Many moons ago, early 90s, we did a live broadcast with the radio station at the Newport Music Hall. Now, to do a live broadcast back in the early days required a hellacious amount of equipment because we had to get an ISDN line, which your telephone line, the hard line that you had before we had cell phones, was called POTS, P-O-T-S, plain old telephone service. And it's basically two wires, sort of a coming and going. ISDN required 4. So 2 pairs of paired wires, so 4 wires. That way you could, basically it was 2, like, so you could talk and then listen. So it wasn't switching, it was packeted. So you had to have it installed, it was expensive. And then you had to have a sound engineer and a sound truck because the mix for what you hear inside a venue is very different than a mix that you would hear that would go over a radio. So we had this sound truck and all this stuff going on. And I was the promotions guy at the time. I was like the assistant to no one. My boss was the marketing director and I was the assistant to the promotions director. There was no promotions director. And the show's going along fine. You know, we had met Tori and she was very nice and, you know, she was kind of Tori Amos. And Wendy Steele, God rest her soul, she was my boss. And somewhere through the show, Tori, wanted everyone to be quiet. They were sitting down and someone clinked a bottle and knocked it over. And, people were talking at a concert. That happens. I mean, I don't prefer that myself. I'm of the mindset that if I spent money on a concert, just shut the fuck up and leave me alone. I'm going to watch the show. I don't want to have conversations about what your day was like and what was going on and tell me all the great things. It's like, just shut up and watch the show. But anyway, there was people who weren't shutting up and watching the show, and a beer bottle knocked over, and she stopped. She was sitting at her piano, and she just stopped, and she was just like, "You are the rudest audience I have ever," and I'm just like, we're live on the air with only a slight delay, so I'm like running outside because Wendy was freaking. She's like, "Oh my God, blah, blah." I'm like, I'm running outside, and remember with the soundtrack, I'm like, pull it. I'm like, turn it the fuck off. Turn it off. Turn it off. I was like, go to commercial, do something. That was shortly the end of Wendy. She, shortly after she didn't want to do it anymore. She goes, I can't do this anymore. I want to go into sales. So we concocted a plan for her to want to go to sales and elevate me to become her job. It worked. She went to sales and did great, and I went on to become the marketing director, which was great. But yes, so Tori Amos was the impetus for the chaos that ensued of her wanting to basically berate the audience, me telling the broadcast to stop and get off the air, and my boss at the time saying, I can't do this anymore. This is too much. I don't want to do this. So yeah, that concocted me, and that's how I moved up the food chain in the radio station at that point, replacing my boss and moving her into sales. It was a great plan. It worked out fine. And I've told people the story before, so it wasn't like I was like, But what I was like, no, we told the people that were like, in charge, like, yeah, she doesn't want to do this anymore. And I do. So move her to sales. I'll take her job. We'll all be good. And they were like, oh, all right, great. Sounds perfect. I'm like, great. I want a raise and a title. I got both. Anyway, 2015, actor Charlie Sheen confirms he is HIV positive. Probably not an intravenous drug user. I don't know, Charlie. In 2018, in Asbury Park, New Jersey, Mayor John Moore champions the day to be named and celebrated as Danny DeVito Day, who was born in Neptune, New Jersey, which is the Neptune County, which is basically Asbury Park, Point Pleasant area. I don't know exactly where he was born, but that's why he does the Jersey Mike's commercials now, because he's a Jersey guy. He's Jersey Shore. We go back. 1957, Harry Belafonte was number 1 on the UK singles chart with Mary's Boy Child, the first single to sell over 1 million copies in the UK. It stayed at number 1 for 7 weeks, making it this year's Christmas number 1. The first Christmas song to hit number 1 in 2 different versions. The other was Boney M's version in 1978. So that means that Christmas is less than 7 weeks away, if that's correct. In 1962, the Four Seasons started a 5-week run at number 1 on the US singles chart with Big Girls Don't Cry, the group's second number 1 of the year. It made number 13 in the UK. Big Girls Don't Cry. They have that total falsetto when they're like, they don't cry. They don't cry. Yeah, I can still hit high notes. I'm not sure why. Maybe it's just from yelling so much my vocal cords are just stretched and screeched. I don't know. In 1963, John Whiteman, the headmaster of the Surrey Grammar School in London, banned all pupils from having Beatles haircuts, saying this ridiculous style brings out the worst in boys physically. It makes them look like morons. Bug hair. The bug hair. It's the Beatle hair. I don't know. Now, I talked about this before, and I think we talked about it's the exact same thing that I said before. I think it was when it was written, but now it's because it's number 1. So the Beach Boys were number 1 on the UK singles chart with Good Vibrations. As a child, Brian Wilson's mother told him that dogs could pick up vibrations from people, so the dog would bark at bad vibrations, bad people. Wilson turned this into the general idea for the song. Now, I definitely remember I talked about that almost the exact same thing, and I think it had to do with the fact that he wrote the song, but it wasn't that, or when it was released, not that it was at number 1. It definitely wasn't, because I would have not repeated the same thing. Close enough, but I didn't. In 1967, a 16-date UK package tour with Jimi Hendrix, Pink Floyd, The Move, The Nice and Amen Corner played at the City Hall in Sheffield, England. A review in the Sheffield Star noted, like an electrified gollywog, Jimi Hendrix threw himself into a live wire act that featured his intricate guitar interpretations. Quite an experience. A gollywog. I was going to look up what that was. I know what a pollywog is. That's, what do you get before you get a frog? What the hell's a gollywog? It's something English, I'm sure. It's some Harry Potter word. I don't know. Freaking English. Pink Floyd also released their 3rd single, Apples and Oranges, today in the UK. That's 1967 today, 11/17, not today. Duh. 1971, Slade were number 1 on the UK singles chart with 'Cause I Love You, the group's first of 6 number 1s. The misspelt song title became a trademark for Slade, causing a great furor among teachers up and down the country. It's COZILUVYOU. Cause I love you. Okay. I guess, if you really have to be that concerned about something as mundane as the spelling of a song title, have at it. In 1973, The Who's double album Quadrophenia entered the UK album chart, peaking at number 2. One of 2 full-scale rock operas from The Who, the other being the 1969 release of Tommy. The 1979 film based on the story stars Phil Daniels, Toya Wilcox, Ray Winston, Michael Elphick, and Sting. Of all people, Mr. Sting. 1979, Jethro Tull bass player John Glasscock died at the age of 28 as a result of a congenital heart failure defect. He also had been a member of Chicken Shack. I don't know, there was a band named Chicken Shack, but apparently there was, because I just read it to you. Now, he missed the cutoff because 28, so he's not in the 27 club. In 1984, Wham! Were at number 1 on the UK album chart with Make It Big, and number 1 on the US singles chart with Wake Me Up Before You Go-Go. Now, Michael's inspiration for the song was a scribbled note left by his Wham! Partner, Andrew Wrigley, for Andrew's parents. Originally intended to read Wake Me Up Before You Go, but with up accidentally written twice, so Ridgely wrote go-go twice on purpose. Wake me up before you go. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. I could see why you'd have to change that to go-go as to up. Wake me up before you go, because it's really not very good. Just saying. Don't care about that. Sorry. I just, sometimes I have to edit things because I'm just thinking about what I was going to talk about. And I'm like, well, you know what? Who cares? It's one of those things where if I don't care about it, are you going to care about it? Probably not. Because you're probably listening or viewing or listening, because some people I know don't watch me, and that's okay. I'm just a faceless YouTube channel at that point. You're just listening to my soothing melodic tones, my dulcet tones of radio expert. Or not. Andy White, who played drums on the Beatles' track Love Me Do, which was featured on the new Beatles' greatest hit album from 2000, would not earn enough from his royalties to buy his own copy. Oh man, that's just pathetic. White would get no more than an original session fee of, ready for this one? $13. Bro, I played on the Beatles. What'd you get? $13. Wow, depressing, to say the very least. I mean, if that's going to happen, it's going to happen. Now, we talked about this before. This is kind of one of those things where, never say never. In 2003, George Michael signed a new contract with the record company he took to court in 1993. 10 years later, the singer re-signed to Sony in a deal that included his extensive back catalog. Michaels had failed in court to wrangle with Sony after accusing it of professional slavery. His contract was bought out by Virgin Records. So basically they were just like, yeah, we'll sign with you. Oh, and by the way, we just sold you. I love that so much. That's just too much. Too much. In 2007, the Eagles were number 1 on the U.S. album chart with Long Road Out of Eden, the band's 7th studio album and first since 1979. That's a long time to be out without playing. 79 to 2007. I guess, that's the way it goes, right? Patti Smith won the National Book Award for her memoir, Just Kids, in 2010. The book documented her relationship with American photographer Robert Mapplethorpe, who she had met in the late 1960s. This is never good. In 2011, sheriff's deputies in South Los Angeles charged a 61-year-old Bonnie Pointer of the Pointer Sisters for possessing rock cocaine after the car she was driving in was pulled over for a mechanical malfunction. I just don't want to go there. That's just sad and unfortunate. Speaking of the Temptations, in 2014, Jimmy Ruffin, the soul singer from the Temptations, died at the age of 78. He was the elder brother of David Ruffin of the Temptations, and they had the 1974 UK single, What Becomes of the Broken Hearted. In 1980, Robin Gibb of the Bee Gees produced his album, Sunrise, and the hit single, Hold On to My Love, which reached number 10 in the US and number 7 in the UK. In 2016, Peter Gabriel launched The Voice Project, the Imprisoned for Art campaign, an effort to free prisoners around the world that had been sent to jail for opposing their governments. Well, we may need that soon enough here. Oh, Todd. I screwed up. I wasn't paying attention. See what happens, Todd? I'm not paying attention. What the hell? Come on. I'm pushing buttons. It's not going back on. There we go. Man, I got to work on that. I did try and change cameras, and all I did was screwed up all the settings. So I'm going to have to find time to actually take the cameras apart and redo these things. Now, this one I found to be disheartening. Daryl Hall, in 2023, took out a restraining order against his former bandmate, John Oates. Court documents showed the case has been categorized as a contract and debt dispute against Oates and his trust, the Daryl Hall Revocable Trust. A Nashville judge later sided with Daryl Hall and ruled that John Oates could not sell his share of the band's joint ventures until a private arbitrator heard the case. I mean, that's why you do that. That's why you have lawyers. That's why you do smart things like having a revocable trust. All right, finally. 2023, Snoop Dogg, who has built his public persona around his copious marijuana intake, said he was giving up smoking. The hip-hop star made the surprise announcement on social media. He posted, after much consideration and conversation with my family, I've decided to give up smoke. Now, I thought this was like a barbecue pit thing. Please respect my privacy at this time. Some fans speculated that the post was part of a marketing stunt for his cannabis company, Leafs by Snoop. I thought it was something that had to do with like a barbecue grill or something. But in 2013, speaking to GQ magazine, Snoop Dogg said he was smoking, ready for this one? This is 80 cannabis joints a day. So basically he had if you had cigarettes in a 20 pack, that was a 4-pack a habit day. So, I mean, that's a lot of cigarettes or smoke to inhale on a daily basis. But yeah, 80 cannabis joints a day. Wow. Okay. I could see where people would have a tough time keeping up with Snoop, smoking 80 joints a day. Let's see. If your day is busted into 8 hours, that's 10 joints an hour. So it's one every 6 minutes, if my math's right. So smoking a joint one every 6 minutes, 8 hours a day, that's a shitload of smoke, my friends. I mean, fuck. When your bloomin' gollywog goes all cattywampus. Yes, cattywampus and chaos. Yes, it is cattywampus. Could you smoke 8 joints a day? I mean, 80 joints a day? I mean, think about that. One every 6 minutes. Bro must be like chronically cronked. For shizzle. For shizzle. All right, born on this day. Gordon Lightfoot. Remember Gordon Lightfoot from Canada? He sung about the wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald on the Lake Gitchagumi. Harold Unji Clark of the Byrds, 8 Miles High, born on this day. Jim Babchick of the Smithereens. Jim's been to the station many times. The Smithereens used to be regulars. Every time they would come nearby, they would always come to the radio station. Always enjoy the Smithereens. They were definitely genuine peeps. They would just come hang at the station. They just dug chilling around the station. It was a good vibe for them. RuPaul, 65 today. Doesn't look a day over, I don't know. How old does RuPaul look? Jeff Buckley was born on this day. I'm not sure how you could sit upright after smoking every 6 minutes. I know, right? I mean, and 8 hours a day, no less. That's a lot of joints. I'm a little bit shocked by that personally. That's smoking a lot of weed, people. Lots of weed. Jeff Buckley, born on this day. Now, yesterday was the birth of Clark Gable. Today is the birth of Rock Hudson. He was in Ice Station Zebra. I remember that was a Cold War movie where they were in like the Antarctic and the Russians, and I forget the plot, but it was definitely one of those, the world's going to end thing, and the two submarine captains kind of said, we good, and the world's not going to end. Martin Scorsese's birthday today. Martin Scorsese, I mean, he's 83. I mean, what he did, let's see. Goodfellas, The Departed, Last Waltz, Taxi Driver, Raging Bull, Michael Jackson's Video. I mean, Scorsese's done lots of movies, and good ones, too. Who else? Well, we know it's Danny DeVito Day. It's because it's Danny DeVito's birthday. That's why the mayor, John Moore of Asbury Park, wanted it to be Danny DeVito Day, celebrating New Jersey, because it's his birthday. And Danny DeVito is 81 today, selling those Jersey Mike subs. Lauren Michael of Saturday Night Live, also 81 today. And happy birthday to my friend Coyote Peterson of Brave Wilderness. Now, if I was being Coyote Peterson, I'd have, 30 million subscribers? Because that's what he has on YouTube. So, if you're a Coyote Peterson fan, please feel free to come here and watch it. I know I'm not going to get stung by crap. Sorry. I am not. He's already done it anyway. He's gotten stung by everything under the sun, from beetles to barracudas, and from, wasps to hornets and bees and everything else. He actually shot, it's funny, Coyote and Mark Vins, they actually shot the pilot that I released a few years ago, many years ago now, for the radio station that we tried to get made into a reality TV show, which just never got picked up, unfortunately. Or I would be in a very different situation than I am now, probably, hopefully, potentially, nunly. But yes, so Brave Wilderness, if you like watching things bite Coyote, feel free to go watch. He gets stung by everything. He's a good cat, though. Definitely a good guy. Definitely appreciate him. And happy birthday to him, Mr. Coyote Peterson. All right, so that was it. That's it. I'm done. I did watch Pluribus last night. The show just makes me chuckle. It's this, I don't know if you've watched it, but the general premise, without giving away, is that we're invaded by a virus that we, of course, stupidly synthesize ourselves from a radio signal that we get. Oh, what's this? Oh, that's a DNA sequence. Let's see what it turns into. But it's a hive mind. So everyone on the planet, except for like half a dozen or a dozen people, are part of this hive mind. And it's mostly about the one woman who's this author, and she's kind of a curmudgeon. If you don't know what that means, she's kind of angry. And this hive mind, they definitely have some rules, like they won't kill anybody intentionally. They won't even kill animals intentionally for food. So they're basically vegans. But they're also, while their imperative is to dominate and take over entire species, civilizations, they're they're not bad, I guess. There's no wars, there's no crime. They don't have any of that because it's a hive mind. But at the same time, she asks, for in the episode last night, she goes, oh, well then, what? I just don't think it would be better if I had a fucking hand grenade to just blow this shit up and not worry about it. Well, they gave her a hand grenade. And she's like, pulls it back. God, this thing's really stuck. Like, whatever. Click. And then they're like, and like throw it to the ground. Of course, it explodes outside because it's a real hand grenade because, sure. So she's like, well, what if I asked for an atomic bomb? And they're like, well, we would have to consider it very carefully. And then she's like, but yes or no? And they're like, yes. Would you like one? She was like, I'll have to take it under consideration. So it's just kind of this weird premise. And I can only laugh at it because there was a Rick and Morty episode where there was a hive mind and it was Unity. And in the one scene, Rick is having a tryst with this hive mind being Unity. And at one point, he wants a stadium filled with all the people on the planet that look like his dad and all redheads with, and he's like, hang glides in naked. just for some reason, I can't not think of the Rick and Morty episode without watching this show now because it's kind of tainted my whole perspective of it. Anyway, no, I don't want an update now. What the hell? Another time. Do not tell me you want an update right in the middle of this. I hate this thing. Would you like to update right this second? It's like, no, I don't want to update right this second. And don't do it for me. Jeebus. Anyway, I digressed about Pluribus. It's a pretty funny TV show. I'm watching something else that I started to watch. I forget what it's called. I'm still trying to do a Spectrum because I have new Spectrum now. But they sent me a box and they're like, oh, it's really easy to install. But I'm like, great, but don't I have like passwords for all these different things? Do I have to resubscribe or I don't know. It's just becoming a hassle. I just want to just lay on the couch and watch TV late at night. That's it. It's the only time I actually watch any television. See, look, right now, I've got an update for you. I don't want an update. Another time. Both computers just... Apparently, there's an update for computers at this moment. So if you're on a computer, your computer is probably going to tell you it's going to update. You want an update? No. The answer is no. Yes, remind me later. Okay. Or another time. Yeah, I would like another time, please, not okay. Anyway, that's what's happening. All right, so tomorrow's episode 171. I have new headers, if you see before the show, so hopefully you like those. If not, that's okay. They're AI generated, so I won't feel bad if they aren't, because I'm not digging them 100%. But my creative talents on editing are slow, and again, I think I'm Cecil B. DeMille, because I have to have everything perfect. It has to be this grand production, where it doesn't really, does it? No. Anyway. All right, I'm leaving. I'm going to go and let you all get on with your lives. And we'll do this again tomorrow. Tomorrow will be Tuesday because the garbage cans are out, the green ones, so I know it's Monday because tomorrow's garbage day. And I put my garbage out already. I already did my chores of taking the garbage out from this house, the next door neighbor's house as well, because they're all right there. So I take their garbage out as well. I'm nice like that. Well, because they take the garbage cans in, so it's kind of this reciprocal thing. It's the way it works. Anyway, I am going to leave you and appreciate you and say thank you, friends. Have a wonderful night. Have a great Tuesday. Hopefully the weather's as beautiful as it was today. It was a little chilly, but it was outstanding. And with that, I will fade to chartreuse. I faded to chartreuse, not plaid, chartreuse.